So yeah, all these little noises and other textures that are happening in this drum part. This is the main sound that kind of opens up. It's just opening up that filter and decay, and it sort of becomes this really enormous sound.
This episode is being supported by Tape It, the iPhone recording app made for musicians by musicians.
I'd usually find a sample or a loop or a little riff or something and then try and reharmonize it and then work on the drums. But this one, I actually sort of had this idea in my head to make this very specific, quite swingy kind of beat and just be kind of keep it as percussive for as long as possible with the elements. So like, you know, the bass elements, to have them be as percussive as possible, and the synth stabs, and just have everything be this kind of like percussive build. And then all the sort of vocal elements and the samples all came later. So.
Yeah. So are you able to show us what came first then?
Yeah, absolutely. So the drums just on their own, let's see.
And so do these come from your own recordings of drums, or are these part of a sample pack, or?
Mostly stuff I have a sort of archive of drums that I've just kind of collected kind of favorite kicks and snares and stuff over the years. But then I also, I kind of like layer stuff with a lot of Foley sounds, which I also collect. I've sort of archived a lot of samples as I record them. For example, like the noise that the little central console in my car makes when you close it is, I've been sort of sat there for hours thinking how that's a really good snare. So I kind of I've recorded bits of that, and that's in the folder. And then sort of little coffee cups that sound particularly percussive, and I'm going to save that and go home and sample it. So I have all that, all those kind of sounds ready to go. But,
right.
And then just kind of more regular drum samples, and more sort of like conventional kick drums and hi-hats and everything else. And I just sort of layer stuff up. All right, so let's see what is going on with this. Bass, percussion. Okay, here's some percussion. Wait, sorry, I have to solo the whole drum group here.
So that pattern, would that have been the first thing you did?
Yeah, I think actually putting these little accents in here, these accents that were against the kick, kind of. That was what kind of gave it the swing, I think. Which I think this is just that little. That's a little sort of sound I had kind of recorded from a modular jam from some years ago. And then this is also a modular thing, actually. This is sort of like a little sequence that I did on a modular thing that I just sort of have in my archives. It's from Atlantis. No, what's it called? IntelliGel Plonk, which is the name of the module. And then this little kind of accent here. And then the kick. And that just sort of like established a nice swing.
Yeah.
And then from there I kind of added up.
And when you're placing all those elements, are you trialing them all? Are you like, try it here, try it there, trying to work out the exact placing for them all?
Yeah. I spend quite a lot of time just kind of getting I'll manually do swing. I know there's templates and I use them sometimes, but I prefer to sort of use swing as it just kind of feels good. And I'll also do something where I'll try not to loop everything in fours. So I'll have like the hi-hats will be a sequence of it might be like 5 notes or a bar and a half, and then the snares will repeat in 3s. So everything is every hit is slightly different. So, you know, you get a full sequence of like 16 bars before anything is exactly the same. Even though it's very subtle, it kind of makes it feel a little looser, and that you're not really getting that repetition as much because things aren't hitting in exactly the same place each time.
Yeah.
a few more little elements here. There's kind of these. Wait, let's see. This is some of the kind of Foley stuff I was talking about. I don't know. Oh yeah, this is actually from my car. This is like the snare drum from my car. That I've just kind of.
What part of the car is that?
So there's the little compartment in the middle, next to the driver's seat. It has this little cover that lifts up and closes. Then you can put stuff in it, and just the way it closes has this really satisfying kind of clunk, which I just recorded it on my phone and just had it.
Time for a quick Tape It feature highlight. Tape It allows you to record in stereo, utilizing the full microphone capacity on an iPhone along with gentler dynamic compression. It gives you a much more natural sound and is a huge upgrade to the all-round audio quality. To find out more, head to the link to download Tape It for free or use the promo code TAPENOTES for 50% off Tape It Pro.
I love this. So, you know, where's Si? Oh, hasn't got out of the car yet. He's kind of listening to the sound of this thing closing.
Yeah, just kind of flicking indicator switches on and off. So that's what that was.
Yeah.
So yeah, all these little noises and other textures that are happening in this drum part. And then I think there's another little modular hi-hat shuffle. And the next thing was a bass, which was no, not that one. It was like a synth part. Yeah. That was actually an Arteria version of an OB4. So there's an OB expander and then there's an OB8. So I think when I started it, I was using an Oberheim expander. But this is the plug-in version. And then eventually I switched it out to an Oberheim 4-voice plug-in.
Right.
So it's just kind of doing it in intervals. I think it's fifths. And you can just open up the filter and it just kind of becomes huge, or you can close the filter and it just becomes very sort of subtle and rhythmic, and it sits in the back. So this is the sound that kind of threads through the whole track, and towards the end and the big builds, this is the main sound that kind of opens up. It's just opening up that filter and decay, and it sort of becomes this really enormous sound as the track comes on.